What's up guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I'm pretty excited for this video particularly because we have a special announcement first and foremost, and that is that myself and this channel will be collaborating with White Feather Investments. Now you're going to ask me, of course, who is White Feather Investments? And I'm going to tell you all about these guys, what they do for me, and basically I want to do a whole review on their Accelerator program. And this Accelerator program is an awesome educational course which teaches you everything 101 about real estate investing. And I don't know about your culture, but in mine, we've got to pay respects to our elders. So, these guys basically birthed me as a real estate investor. So, very excited to talk about them. And so definitely if you're interested, stay tuned because I'm going to break down this course and give my own personal review and opinion on my experience with them. And quick side note here, I also wanted to point out that White Feather is primarily catered towards the military community, whether you're a veteran or still active duty, anybody that's kind of associated with the military, their program is primarily catered towards those individuals. So if you fit this demographic, then definitely give these guys a shout and check them out. So first, I just wanted to talk about White Feather Investments as a company because I feel like I need to really convey the importance of trust and finding just good people to work with, especially in this profession as a real estate investor. And White Feather Investments was just founded on good principles because their entire goal is to empower and educate people to build generational wealth and find financial freedom. And White Feather was created by a gentleman named Buddy, who is also a Naval Academy graduate, and the operations is ran by another gentleman named Greg. Both were Marine Corps officers, not quite Army paratroopers, but it's still something, And but just phenomenal dudes all around. They're people that I can rely on. If I send them an email, I know that they'll send me a prompt response, answering any question I have because there's so many things that go on in this business, and just also I look up to just as mentors because they've been in the game longer and they just know a ton of information. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the link to their website in the description box below so you guys can go ahead and check them out at your convenience. And I don't know if this sounds corny or not, but these guys and taking their real estate investor course probably changed my life. What they definitely did was change at least the course of my financial future for sure. And so that's why I said I'm very excited to share this with you, and I'm going to go ahead now and just dig into this review of their Accelerator program. Alright, so the White Feather Education Program, their Accelerator program, just basically what it is a 6-month course broken down by 6 modules, so 1 module per month. And I think each month ran me maybe like $950. So the grand total was a little under $6K. But my belief is that if you want to be an expert in whatever you do, you're going to invest money into that education. If you're not committed enough to invest money and spend not a lot of time, but at least a substantial amount of time into perfecting your craft, then it's just not something you were meant to do. I think before taking this course, I looked at other real estate investing courses to teach me what I wanted to learn. And man, some courses I saw were like $30,000 for a course, or some other outrageous price. And so when I saw this one, I saw who it was run by. I definitely was very interested. And in the application process too, they're also very selective. They only allow maybe 35 slots per course, and they run 2 courses a year, 6 months at 6-month intervals. And so you're going to fill out an application and they're going to kind of vet you and see if you're kind of someone they want to take on, because they don't want someone that's going to be flaky and opt out in the middle of it. They want people to complete the course, and what they really want is to see you take action as well. So during the course, myself and people that were in my iteration of my class were closing deals while taking this course. So it's pretty exciting because they also will put you in your own little subgroup. So I had, I think, 6 to 8 people in my group, and we met every week, talked about what we were doing, talked about the course content, we're able to just kind of feed each other and just learn and piggyback off of that knowledge. And so it was just altogether just an awesome experience. And I'm going to break down each module for you and show you kind of what I learned and show you some of the products I made while taking this course as well. So for this segment, when I break down month 1 through 6, I'm also going to be flipping back and forth from camera to screen recording. So I don't know if the audio will sound jacked up or not, but we're going to send it and see how it looks. And so module 1, this course starts off with the financial blueprint module, which I think might be the most important, even though it's less information heavy. It's most important because it shows you where you are financially. Because we're all starting this course in completely different financial situations. Like for me, example, as a young single guy with little to no expenses, my financial situation was a lot different than some of my classmates who might be married, make a lot more money than me, maybe have more expenses. And so this course is just made to pinpoint where you're at, what you're saving, and kind of give you a clear path to becoming a real estate investor. And I think more importantly, what this module does for you is it makes you find your why. So I know for one of my assignments, you had to make a vision board with just kind of images of just basically describing why you want to pursue financial freedom, why you want to build generational wealth. And I think that's most important because it kind of brings you back down to earth, because when I'm out there doing real estate, out there grinding and hustling every day, it's work at the end of the day. I could be hanging out playing video games or whatever, but instead, I'm out there making money. And the why kind of just makes you realize, when it sucks, just to remind you, this is what I'm doing it for, and this is the future I want, and I'm out there and I'm gonna get it. So I'll dive right in here. This is the vision board I made, and this is just a collection of Google images, right? But I guess these all kind of mean something to me. I won't break them all down, but I think what's most important for me is having work-life balance. I really never wanted a job that would take me away from my family too much, and so I always wanted something that I could work but also enjoy life while I was still young, And this one was important to me too because I always wanted to be a business owner. I always wanted to be the one to start something from scratch and just pave my own way. To me, that sounds super exciting and very fulfilling, and it's just something I would love to do in the future. Everything else, these are, kind of just luxury things. Of course, I don't really need to explain them. Traveling, nice house, on the water, boat, etc. Everyone has some kind of like that in their vision board, like a Maserati or something. But those are just some luxury items. And of course here, stereotype. I didn't pick an Asian family on purpose. They just kind of happened to be there on Google for some reason when you click family learning together. And so I would just love to be there with my family, teaching my kids things, and also here just would love to be out in my community, teaching people about things I love, finance and financial education. Moving on. My why, you can just kind of check this out, but this is just why I'm doing what I do. And this is what gives me passion. This is what drives me on every day to keep grinding and working and making money. And this is the goal and the timeline I also made when I first started this course. Kind of funny because purchased my first property in June, purchased one property in December, and then 2 more next year. And now I'm on my 5th one. It's only September of 2020. So, I just blew past these goals. And I guess back then these sounded like pretty lofty goals. And then once I got that education, I'm just crushing it. And then already started my own wholesale company as well. So that's a check. These ones would take probably a little longer, but I guess they're spaced out longer for a reason. But rental properties, paying enough to acquire more properties, that would be a pretty substantial breakthrough, I think, in my opinion. Because right now, from my paycheck from my day job, a lot of my paycheck goes into my properties now. And if I didn't have my paycheck, I wouldn't be able to support the constant acquisition here. And so this would be a huge breakthrough for me if I didn't have to dump a lot of my own paycheck into these properties. Own at least $1 million in real estate. I'm already almost there as well. I'll probably check that off in the very near future. And living off my own passive income is also a very lofty goal. I think I calculated this, and it would probably take 20 plus properties to do that. That's still a far way off, but hey, that's why it's a goal. It's something to shoot for the stars. Lastly, just a financial snapshot here. Of course, I zeroed out all the values here because y'all don't need to know how much money I got. I mean, it ain't much, but this is personal information, and I think this is just good to show you where you're at, and maybe you'll when you fill this out, you'll be like, man, I'm not very good at this, and you'll realize I need to probably change some things in my life. And plus, you don't need to see all the cryptocurrency I've been hoarding away, so wanted to keep that a secret as well. But that's pretty much it. And that's the first assignment that I did. I just wanted you guys to check that out and kind of see what direction this course is heading in right off the get-go. And so Module 2. Module 2 is the investment strategy module. And this module is just dedicated to teaching you all these different methods and ways that you can take down a deal in real estate. And so a couple weeks ago, I pushed out a video about creative financing strategies, primarily focused on how to invest without money. Well, I mean, where do you think I learned it from? It was these guys, and during this module is where I learned, like, wow, you don't need a conventional loan of 20% down to buy a house. There's so much more to it. And so this module broke down all of that for me. And so Module 3. Module 3 is the market analysis module. Personally, market analysis isn't my favorite. It's not sexy by any means, but it's definitely necessary. So you have the information you can gather to determine whether a market has the conditions appropriate for good real estate investing. I like running numbers and seeing how much money I'm gonna make, but this module taught me exactly what to look for in a macro analysis and also a micro analysis down to the neighborhoods and the zip codes. This is the Fayetteville, North Carolina macro market analysis that I actually put together for this course. So I'm just going to show you guys like what I was able to make with through that module with the education. So I just put this together. It's like 15 slides, so I'm going to breeze through it. An overview of Fayetteville here, just some good fun facts for you. Population stats. I was able to dig through the internet and to go to trusted, reliable sources and pull out a lot of these stats about the population here, and sorry for all the HUA airborne memorabilia up here too. That's just it's just I guess the 82nd in me. And so then there's also change in population percentage. You can see here the growth trends of where Fayetteville is expanding, and so you can see from what I've seen, and this is back in 1990 to 2000, but the trends remain true just because I know that I've lived here for a while and I can see where the construction is and where the city is expanding. And so Fayetteville is expanding west. And so for me, I like to focus on the zip codes out here in the west of Fayetteville because that's where the new construction is happening. I broke down the economic factors here, everything that was important comparing Fayetteville to the United States. Of course, Fayetteville has higher unemployment. And less household income, but I love Fayetteville. I broke down the top employers here. Of course, the biggest employer here is Fort Bragg and the U.S. Army, and it ain't going nowhere either. It's a huge Army base here. Broke down the cost of living and compared it to the rest of North Carolina and the greater United States. Real estate, also broke down some facts about the real estate here as well. So you can see like what the median gross rent is and also the median home cost in Fayetteville. So you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to be paying for a house here. As you can see, the median home cost in Fayetteville is pretty low compared to national averages. It's a great place to get your feet wet as an investor for sure and find great cash flowing real estate. Broke down the housing market details. Of course, 3-bed, 2-bath. Single-family home is a staple in this market. Broke down some statistics of home size, age of homes, everything. This one just broke down just a draft of future land use here. This is honestly kind of unreadable. It's just too much going on for me. I should probably delete that. But, I'm learning. Schools broke down like where the good schools are because schools do affect real estate prices a lot as well. The path of progress, of course, I even went down to like the city websites and was able to find, where the city is expanding, like what projects is the city undertaking to expand and grow. And so as you can see here, I know that this highway is being built, and I know that once this highway is complete, it's going to be a huge expansion out further west with new subdivisions and everything. And so that'll help out the city a lot as well. More path of progress, other projects that the city's working on here that I was looking at. And so in summary, I just broke down my final notes about everything what I think about the Fayetteville market. And so you guys can read through this and pause it if you like, but this is just my honest assessment of the market here. And I'm a big time investor in this area. And so I think this is some good knowledge for you. Boom, Fort Bragg, home of the airborne. All right. Now module 4. Module 4 is the cash flow module, which of course is my personal favorite because, that's the sexy one. That's going to show you how to run numbers, how to look at deals, analyze them to see what your cash flow is going to be. All right, here's an example of what I learned in how to analyze a rental property. Just doing a basic cash flow analysis here. And Module 4 teaches you all about this and exactly how to find these numbers. And so here's an example from the first property I purchased. Now I purchased this one with the VA loan. I kind of already showed this in a prior video, but I'm just going to show you again real quickly and just kind of show you all the numbers that go into analyzing a deal. So like box 1, acquisition information. So you have your purchase price, which you're going to put as a down payment, all the closing costs associated if you have loan points. And for this particular deal, since it was a VA loan, I included a funding fee. But of course, for conventional, that line wouldn't be here. So then that adds it up with the total cash outlay at your acquisition when you're closing. And it'll populate you a mortgage amount here. So those are just some numbers that go into the acquisition. Then there's another box here for property operations, and this is everything that goes into managing the property on a month-to-month basis. And so this is where I think where a lot of newbies get tied up, is because they don't realize everything that actually goes in and everything you have to consider when buying a rental property. It's not just rent minus your mortgage, but it's all these other things you have to consider. And so here's what I make on this one for my monthly rent. I included 5% for vacancy, and that gives you an effective gross rent. And then there's operating expenses like property management, insurance, maintenance, housing association fees, and also miscellaneous, which I kind of use miscellaneous as like a CapEx type box if it needs it, if I'm buying an older property. And then finally, property taxes. And when you add those all up, get your total operating expenses here. So you have your effective gross rent minus your total operating expenses, and that gives you the net operating income, this 596. But you're not done there, because now you have to use box 3 and use your mortgage payment cash flows. So for this one, 2.75 interest rate, 30-year loan, that populated me of $396 a month. So from this property, at the end of the day, your monthly cash flow on this one is $200, and the annual cash flow, just annualized it, and that makes $2,400. And so, that's what I learned in this module, is how to break down all of these numbers and get what you finally want, which is right here at the bottom, your monthly cash flow, annual cash flow, and then lastly, just to give you some stats, the investment return summary, last box 4, and that just gives you some stats so you can kind of track and see how you're performing. And so obviously for this one, the cash on cash, which is the cash flow divided by the total equity in the property. And that's because this deal is crazy stupid, because like I showed you before, I have the 178% return on this investment, because if you remember, I only put down like $1,300 when I first bought this property, and I'm making $2,400 a year. And so that's why you see this almost 200% return, because I'm almost doubling my money from when I bought this property, which is crazy. And I think I broke it because it didn't even populate a value here for my year 1 return, which is basically just the cash on cash return plus the mortgage pay down when you amortize it. So that'll even be a higher number. So when you include the actual mortgage pay down as part of my return, this would probably be 200% return easily. And then also, so this is kind of just annualizing it, or analyzing it from like a 1 year perspective. But see here, you also have a multi-year analysis. And so another thing to consider here is, how is this property going to perform over years of time? And so like this particular sheet kind of just extrapolates that to 10 years here. Same basic information on top, acquisition information, property operation statement. So as you can see, throughout time, there's only a 1% rent increase. That's pretty low, honestly. So over the years, it'll increase 1% in this case. And then property taxes increase is 1% per year. I think these are kind of low, but we'll hold them here for now. And so you see over time, I'm actually making more money just because every year my rent is increasing and the property is increasing. So over the years, you can see I'm making 596, and then eventually by year 10 it's 652. But also the mortgage remains stable, because once that mortgage is locked in, that's how much you're paying. So I'm actually making more money and my mortgage is staying stable. So at the end of the day, 10 years down the road, I was making $2,400. Now I'm making $3,000 10 years from now. So it's pretty awesome to see like what your property can do over time. And this is my return too, right here, my cash on cash. Boom, 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 boom. Over 100% return here. So like something like this is pretty awesome, and I think you need to consider this when you're analyzing a property. Now the fifth module is the tax and legal module. And this one is also very important. Not that exciting, but very important as just an entrepreneur in general, a business owner. Because you have to look at everything from a tax standpoint. You have to look at what benefits owning property gives you tax-wise, owning your own business, and also the legal side of it as well, because you want to make sure you have the correct entities in place to protect you. In case anything happens, like someone breaks their leg in your house and they want to come after you. So this module is extremely important for being a real estate investor long term. And sixth, the last module is the generational wealth module. And they kind of, in this module, shove in a bunch of things in here that cover a wide spectrum of topics. Just off the top of my head real quickly, whole life insurance, and not just whole life insurance that some advisor, at Northwestern Mutual off LinkedIn is pitching to you, but like a legit whole life insurance policy from an investor standpoint. Other things like how to invest in short-term rentals as well. If you're interested in Airbnb, you can potentially 2x, maybe 3x, 4x your returns every month by, instead of renting it long-term, you rent it as a short-term rental. Little things like that. They kind of all shove into this generational wealth module, which is also really cool and interesting. That's pretty much the gist of this program. I just broke it down very briefly, but of course it goes into so much more detail, and they crammed somehow so much information in those 6 months. I don't even know how I retained it all. And I guess you could also look to me as a testament of what this program is able to accomplish, because I went from literally nothing to where I am now. And now in 1 year, I'm on the verge of closing my 5th property in this year alone. And I went from knowing nothing about real estate to being, I'm not going to say I'm a real estate guru, but I would say I'm armed and dangerous for sure. And Buddy and Greg, they're definitely the guys to talk to. Like I said, I look up to them as my mentors. If you're looking to get into real estate investing, or maybe you're already in it and you want to up your game, Buddy and Greg are the guys to talk to. And White Feather Investments and their Accelerator program, it's a program that you probably need to be a part of to just get to that next level, just like I did. And kind of cool, but I also graduated as the Rookie of the Year, so I got this little trinket for it. It's baseball, and it's plugged in like that with the Real Estate Investor Rookie of the Year. And they also pitched me $1,000 towards my first deal with them, which is just cool. It's just like an awesome little gig that they did at the end. And other people won prizes and money as well, not just me. So like I said, plug in with them. Their website link is in the description box. Just give them a check out. And these guys are people I trust wholeheartedly. and they're dudes that I'm going to be doing business with for the rest of my life. And so if my word means anything, then definitely give them a check out. And so that's pretty much the gist of this video. Please like and subscribe. Continue to show love and support. It's been awesome so far, this little journey, and I've been enjoying it every step of the way. So much love, and I can't wait to keep pushing more content to you. Until next time.